it's Mark from Top Local. We're here with John Nieuwenburg. He's a business coach in Vancouver. His company's called W5 Coaching. He specializes in the hard questions, and he's one of the best business coaches in North America. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. Thanks very much, Mark.
So, and answers, I might add. We're going to talk about, do you have a system for starting with new clients, and why does it matter?
Yeah. You know, I've been talking to a few of my clients this week about that question. If you're in a professional service practice, and what I mean by that are law practices, engineering, and accounting, those are the common ones we think about. But what about other practices? Business coaching is another professional practice. If you're a health practitioner, physiotherapist, acupuncturist, those kinds of things. Your business, you know, as someone who provides the kind of services you do, we all start clients for a long-term relationship, and the process of getting our clients introduced to our company, our business, and introduced to how we want to do business with them is a critical part. Getting off on the right foot is basically the message here. How do you want to make sure you get off on the right foot? So the scenario is typically that you get a client, it's very exciting, they've given you some form of a deposit or some kind of payment up front, and you leave the premises after a hearty handshake, and then the client is left wondering, what have I done? If there's ever a time for buyer's remorse, this is it. For them to question, did I really make the right decision? And so part of the value of doing a proper onboarding process is to make that transition from I've decided to work with you to now being fully engaged. And in my view, one of the most important things that you can do to get them started is get them started immediately. And by that I mean almost even in the first in the meeting before you leave, after you've signed the agreement, is give them some homework. Start to show them in the form of the questions you're asking and the areas that you're forcing them to think about, that they've that you're demonstrating the value you've created, and that they're starting to get that they've made a good decision. And when you do that, you get past the buyer's remorse part of it, and you start to demonstrate results right away. So in onboarding a client, make sure you give them homework, excuse me, pardon me, immediately. The other thing about onboarding clients is in that first phase, they're going to be paying a great deal of attention to, am I getting results? Am I getting value for my investment? And so you want to not avoid that question, but be very proactive and explicit in saying to the client something like, what would have to happen so that you'd feel good about the investment? So that you proactively canvass with the client what they deem to be valuable, and that you have a scope question about that, so that you know, managing expectations is a big part of starting off the client with a successful start. So those are the two big things. Something else that you can do that is that helps you get off on the right foot is start with some form of client delight. What can you do? What kind of gift? What kind of acknowledgement? What kind of ceremony? What kind of surprise can you offer your client that gets them to appreciate that you've generated value immediately? So, you know, if your client is someone that likes cars, as an example, it'll cost you $50 to get a year's subscription to Car and Driver magazine. You know, something delightful that gets them started right away. So can you do something? I'm reading of another example here of they immediately sent the client a freshly baked pie from a service, so that the pie arrived hot and was, you know, commented on by everyone in the office, and even months later they were still talking about this magical pie. And so the magic here is that it doesn't matter how much it costs, really. It's about the perceived value. And so, you know, a very hot pie right at coffee time is going to make a much greater impression than, you know, a plate of vegetables that might come from Costco. Even though they're appreciated, it doesn't have high perceived value or recognition. So my question for you is this: do you have a system and a process that helps you transition a client from starting with you, helps them get engaged in the process quickly, to establish, get past buyer's remorse, to establish value, and to win their loyalty or their commitment to want to continue to work with you? If you've got a system, great. If not, you're leaving a great opportunity on the table.
So if you need this kind of insight to grow your business, this is a good guy to call. John Nieuwenburg. He works right across, well, actually around the world. Check out his website, w5coaching.com, or give him an email, john@w5coaching.com. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure.